Hello, once again. Welcome to Riding Tiger with Arijit, and this is our 46th episode where I've got amazing lady sitting in Dubai, a beautiful Sandi, and Sandi comes from sand itself. The land of sand is giving and treating her well. I'm sure about that. Talking about Riding Tiger with Arijit, the reason we call Riding Tiger because Tiger is your baby. When you start your journey, it's a never-ending journey that you start. And the tiger is actually that time a cub. You feed it with milk. Eventually, it becomes big. And when you start riding on the top of it, you have a fear that you just can't stop. You need to keep riding on it, and that's your business. And the way you are feeding it is the science and art of feeding it with money. So here comes our today's tiger. Welcome to Riding Tiger.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure is all mine. Could you please talk about a little bit about yourself, and maybe you can share a little bit about your life journey, how you have disrupted the market and the kind of insurance work and the kind of mentoring that you are doing, and probably we can enlighten ourselves. Please.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity of being on your show. It's an absolute pleasure. And yes, I love everything about tigers. So how do I introduce myself? Well, I am odd. I consider myself odd because you have to be odd to be number one. And more important is I believe that I should always stand out because I was born to stand out, not to fit in. And that, I think, applies to all of us. And my journey in the world of business and finance and actually earning an income started at what other people would consider middle age. And so when I decided to get myself a job due to certain financial conditions in my family, I was 44 years old. And I'd never worked a day in my life. I had absolutely zero office experience. I didn't know how to operate a computer. I didn't know how to operate, even navigate the mouse. And so having graduated from university, I got married, had my kids. I was very happy being a mom and a wife. But when circumstances changed, I decided that it was time that I should step up to the plate and do my bit, because you cannot depend on other people or expect other people to constantly support you. You have to stand on your own. And it was an interesting journey because I faced a lot of rejection. And the word no was very often on the lips of people before they could even hear anything that I had to say. So sometimes people were not very kind and were not, they were not, what should I say, not very subtle in the ways that they spoke. And it was like, lady, at your age, really? You think you can do something, are you going to learn new things? You're obviously middle-aged, your brain is practically gone to sleep, etc., etc. But there are two words that I have been very, very particular about. And one of them is belief. So I believe in myself. And the other one is intent. And you need to be very clear in your intent if you want something to happen for you. You cannot waver in your intent. So I believe in myself. I believe in my capabilities. I have tremendous self-confidence. I know what I'm capable of. The point was, how was I going to get other people to know about my abilities, about my intelligence, about my qualifications to do something and make a big difference? So that was the challenge. But I believe in the power of prayer. I'm not religious, I'm quite spiritual. And the other thing is, if you are asking to the universe or the supreme being, you're asking for something, you have to be very clear in your intent. You can't waver and change it every day. Oh, I want this today. Okay, this doesn't work, let me have that. No, very clear. So what was my prayer every day when I got all those no's? It was, open one door for me. Not which door, what kind of door. Open one door for me and I will walk through and do the rest. And that's exactly what happened. And so was it a miracle? Was it something that was supposed to happen? I don't know. I'm not even going there. But there was a fabulous little ad in the classifieds, which I never looked at because obviously I was not qualified for anything. But it said, if you're a people's person and you think you have good communication skills, no experience required, training provided. I was like, yes, my prayer has been answered. So off I went to this so-called seminar that was happening. And the other thing that I'd like to point out to all our viewers and all our listeners, never sit in the back row. You will never be noticed. Always make your way to the front, no matter how crowded it is. Be very polite and ask, may I sit here? That's it. And being a lady in my case, very few people will say, no, I'm so sorry, you can't. So you got to take advantage of that, right? So I sat there and I asked lots of questions, and to cut a long story short, I was shortlisted and I was offered a job on the spot. And I told my boss, he's still my boss, he was all of 29 at that time and I was 44. And I said, how could you offer me a job when you don't know anything about me? And he says, what? You know what? And this is another thing that I'd like our listeners to listen to. They were observing certain characteristics about individuals. People were given a checklist of what to look for in terms of body language, in terms of voice, in terms of self-confidence, how you sat, where you sat, all those kinds of things. And I made the mark without even knowing it. And there I was in the most hated field, insurance. Who are going to buy insurance? So it was an uphill task, but I was very excited about it. I was so pleased that I actually got the opportunity. And I think that enthusiasm, that positive thinking was what was taking me forward. So no matter how many times I was rejected, it didn't matter because I just kept saying, one no, a step closer to the yes.
Always.
And then the other thing I got, which I always use when I'm mentoring, is what is no? No is a very powerful word if you use it correctly. No sets the boundaries. No tells people, you cannot push me any further. I will not go any further unless I decide. But more important, no is N, new, O, opportunity. So every time somebody says no to you, say, thank you so much. You've just given me a new opportunity. So that's it.
It's not that's it, to be very honest. Well, I personally believe the way you have crossed all those barriers, you are supposed to do that. You are supposed to do that.
Yes.
There is no other alternative way, number one. Number two, the way I understand you, you are a doer, and doers always, they have an opportunity to grab things the way they want. If not,
very true,
they create the path so that it happens in their own way. And I'm not sure whether I should address these people who usually say that at this middle age, you're supposed to do this or that. I know people, to be very honest, I mentored people who is aged about and above probably 65. And I guided them to start their own venture based out of a European country. There was an innovator who felt that life just stopped for him. And both the couples, they felt, oh, no, you know what, we are above 60s, what we should do. So I encouraged them and brought them in to a couple of conferences. Somehow they trusted me. They started their venture. Now look at them. They got around 7 different patents, which they started their own venture. Age is just a number, guys. I mean, for all the listeners, if you are listening to this beautiful lady, you need to understand it is the power and the empowerment that is coming up. This is called the real challenge taking and executing things. So I'm really happy and blessed to know you and host you. I have a question for you. When usually you get a rejection, I know that you take it as a challenge. But for some people, when they are rejected, maybe in their job, maybe in their business, sometimes they are not earning money, they get demotivated. What's the 3 key things which they can do to motivate themselves? Is it meditation? Is it self-learning, or is it something which you want to share with our audience? Please.
Okay, so I can give my own example because I've been through all of that. So rejection, yes, you will be rejected. There's no two ways about it. But how do you deal with it? Is it important to what do you call identify yourself with the person who rejected you? Is it important to identify yourself with a group of people who rejected your project? Does that define you? Does that make, if the other person didn't understand it, or let's say it was not their interest, it doesn't mean that you are not successful. It does not mean that you have failed. All right. And they say, oh, failure is the first stepping stone to success. So if you don't have those setbacks, how are you going to go back and redefine yourself? How are you going to go back deep inside you and search for that person who is going to be so good, who's actually a talented, gifted person? Only you can make that distinction about yourself, no matter how much other people compliment you or disregard you or reject you. At the end of the day, you are the person who decides how capable and how successful you want to be. So if success is not coming in the manner that you want it, it's not necessary for it to come in that manner. It could come in a different manner. So you have to be vigilant, you have to be observant, you have to be open-minded to look for those opportunities because they are always there.
True, absolutely true. And you said that you are spiritual. I mean, definitely we understand, religion is different, spiritualism is different. When we talk about understanding our inner core, sometimes this is my own solo concept. I define myself as me, I, and myself. So myself is different, and I is the ego which probably I have as I, as name or fame that we have. And me is basically a complete different kind of me time, me concept, like completely me. So when you nowadays walk on the roads or probably entering in a event, which I'm sure you're going, and I'm sure that you understand and cherish those old moments when you started your journey. And now when you meet people and talk to people, you have your own aura. For people who are probably entering into this networking world for the first time, they want to create their own aura. They want to probably mix with others. What are the tips that you feel that you want to give to them? And my second question to you, how do you resonate yourself? Because when you speak, trust me on this, I don't lie, okay? You are coming with a lot of power, energy, and that's pure energy. So how to uplift someone with that kind of confidence level? Two questions for you, please.
All right, so let's talk about self-confidence. Self-confidence, obviously, it has to be self. Now, a lot of us, not a lot, I think all of us are subject to social conditioning. So as we grow up as children, some of us are very outgoing, some of us are quiet, some of us are reserved, some of us are naughty, and whatever else, right? And then it's like constantly being told, don't do this. This is not the way it's done. All right. So you go into school and you want to express yourself, and you want to enjoy yourself, and you want to speak out because you say something very interesting or you don't agree with something, and you're constantly told again, this is not the way it's done. You don't know. You're not experienced. How can you say this? Don't be stupid. All kinds of things are said to us. And these actually sit in our subconscious. And by the time we're 6 years old, we're this crippled little child that was not allowed to blossom and bloom. And so when I look at people who have issues about this, because everybody has a different nature, I was quite rebellious. So every time somebody said no to me, it was like, I'll show you. I may not have said it, but that's what I felt. Okay. And so I did things my way. And even though I was young, and even though there were many older people who were constantly telling me what to do, in my mind, it was okay, I'll please you now, but I'll do it the way I want. And that's what I grew up with. But many of us are not that strong, and it's perfectly all right. You don't have to judge yourself. So the first thing is, do not judge yourself. The second thing is, tune into your internal GPS. What is your internal GPS? It's your inner voice. It's your soul. It's your soul speaking to you. And your soul is never, ever wrong. It is
True.
more powerful than this. This is a minuscule part, right? So focus on your inner journey. Focus on your soul. And when I talk about meditation and I talk about spirituality, I'm not talking about a religion telling me what to do, how to do, when to do. No, we are free. We are free souls. And
Choose
therefore,
any
you
path.
should look into that kind of freedom inside. And when you go into that journey, trust me, I've done it. Yes, I have come out feeling absolutely awesome. I have come out feeling energized, energetic, happy, positive. And so you talk about when I walk into a room. Yes, I walk in. I have arrived. Look at me. I'm to be noticed. I may not say it, but it's in my aura. And people turn around and look at me. And I'm always happy, I'm always smiling, I'm always welcoming, I'm always warm. But I'm always number one, self-confident. So that's how you walk into the room. No matter how bad your day has been, no matter who has said what fight you've had, what credit card balance is due, what your boss said, you could be losing your job. But when you walk in, remember, acting is important. We all actors on the stage of life, right? So act the way and slowly behave the way, because
Yep.
it's in your behavior. It's not what you say, it's the aura around you. Correct?
True. Totally agree. Totally agree.
So walk in with that. I'm $1 million. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm a queen. That's who you are.
Brilliant analogy. So I'll be asking you 3 rapid fire questions, which is like, I'm gonna take one word, and whatever comes in your mind with that word, you can tell it to the audience. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Super. Life.
Enjoyment.
God.
Creator.
Love.
Best emotion ever.
Purple.
Sorry?
Purple.
Purple, the color. Royal.
Amazing. Okay, so this is a question which I usually ask everyone who comes in Riding Tiger. Imagine there is a park, and in that park there is one bench, and you can sit with only one person in that bench. The ambience is really good. The wind is really fascinating. Sun is there. It's a beautiful day. Whom would you like to sit with, and what kind of conversation you want to do with that person?
I'd like to sit with a child.
Anyone?
I'd like to sit with a child because the child has no point of view. They're just enjoying life. They're full of exuberance. They're full of excitement. They're full of energy. They don't have any point of view, as I said, and they're happy to explore. They're adventurous. They want to try new things. They're ready to listen. They are, what should I say, excited about life. They're ready to take a chance. And if I say to them, come on, let's jump off this place, they sometimes, which is a very important thing, they trust you.
Yep.
So that's why I'd like to sit with the child.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming and giving us all the insights. It's totally fascinating, and I really loved your journey. Keep rocking, keep doing well, keep inspiring, and please be in touch. Thank you so much for being there with us and having a good time together. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Your questions were amazing and they energized me, they challenged me, and I feel that I've been able to share a special part of me, and I hope that anybody listening in, tuning in, is as energized and excited as I am. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.